Okay. First thing today for everyone is logging onto your machines, logging onto your Macs. So when you go to your machine, you turn the machine on as you normally would, or you click the mouse button and the screen will come up. If you see the word Nick, you know how we've been logging in with my name with the word Nick, you need to click Switch User. Switch user, okay? So if you switch user, then you should have three other options come up. Now, if you can't see the switch user button, it's down at the bottom of the screen. You should have a little round button underneath my name right down the bottom called switch user. You click on switch user. Then you want to select other. Right, and other is the option to log in, not the Amity International School and not the one that says my name Nick. You need to click the one that says other. Okay, and then where it says username, you need to write AISP01. Now the 0 is the number 0 and the A needs to be a lowercase a. AISP01. I'll make that really big so you guys can see that. That is your username, AISP01. Okay, next line. Your password. The password is ABCD123. You know this password. You've used this before, okay? So, you turn your machine on. You go to Switch User. Then you select Other as the person to log in as, Other. Then you go to the username section, AISP01, and the 0 is a number 0, remember? And then your password's ABCD123. Now, you need to watch the rest of this video to find out what you're going to be doing today. Hi everyone. Today you're going to be using iMovie to tell a story, in fact to tell the end of a story. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a little bit of video here and I'm going to show you the start of the story. Now you need to listen very, very carefully so that you understand what the story's about and how it all works. Once I've shown you this little bit of story, I'm going to tell you how to make your movie in iMovie. So here we go, watch this section of video.
When the wind changed. There was a boy named Josh, and he could do lots of things. There was one thing he could do best of all. He could make faces. He found out how good he was at making faces because of the dog next door. The dog did not like cats, seagulls, or big or little people. Most of all, he did not like Josh. He always hoped that Josh would come over the fence, and then he could bite him. One day, Josh's ball flew over the fence. Josh climbed up to see if he could get it. There it lay in the middle of the dog's garden. The dog made a terrible noise. "Good dog," said Josh. "Want a nice bone, doggy?" The dog made another terrible noise, which Josh understood very well. The bone the dog wanted was Josh's leg bone. Josh made a face at him. It was just an ordinary awful face, but the dog's tail drooped, his ears went flat, he ran onto his porch. He growled as Josh climbed over the fence, but as Josh was still making the face, he dared not to come closer. When Josh got back to his own place with the ball, he went inside. There was his grandmother reading the newspaper. "Look, Gran," said Josh, "I can make a face that scares dogs." Grandmother looked up and gave a screech and battered Josh over the head with her newspaper. Josh was surprised and pleased. He went to the mirror to have a look at his dog and Gran's scaring face. It did not seem very special. "I can do better than that," he thought. Every day he practiced, he discovered more and more awful faces. He tried them on the postman. He tried them on his mother. His mother was not a screecher, but she did ask him not to try his faces on the people in the street because it would not be good for Dad's business. Dad was a teller at the bank down the street. He was an important person and always wore a very white shirt. Dad was a hard person to upset. When Josh tried the most awful of his faces on him, all he did was look thoughtfully at Josh and say, "I don't know if you've heard, Josh. But if you're making a face and the wind changes, it will stay that way. Haha, said Josh, but that didn't upset his father either. Josh went on practicing faces. Then one day, he made the best face of all. It was hideous. It was almost scared Josh himself. Suddenly, the wind changed. His face stayed the way it was. Josh tried to squash it back into shape. He heaved up under his chin. He pressed on top of his head. He squeezed and pummeled his cheeks. It was no use.
Now that you've seen that section of when the wind changed, you are going to write the end of the story. What happens to the boy Josh after his face changes and gets stuck in that funny position? What other adventures happen with his funny face? And how does it get resolved in the end? So I would like you to think about the story and think about how you would like to end the story. Now, I'm going to show you step by step on the board what I would like you to do. You need to really pay attention because there's lots of steps here. Now, Mr. Travis can pause this video, he can rewind it and show you again if you're not sure what to do, but I'm going to take you through step by step on the screen what needs to be done, so please pay attention. You're going to go up onto the top right hand corner of the screen on your Mac and you're going to click on the magnifying glass and you're going to type in the word photo booth. Once you type in photo booth, the photo booth app will be there. You double click on that and it'll start the video like this. Now, once the video has started, you're going down into the bottom right hand corner and you're going to click on the effects button. So once you've got the effects button pressed, there are three main buttons along the bottom that give you different video effects depending on what you would like to do. The middle one is the normal one. Now, I would like you to make a short section of video in Photo Booth continuing the story about Josh. So for example, I might choose the stretch video. And I could choose the stretch video and then I could go over here to the camera in the bottom left hand corner, the little camera down here. I could click on the camera and I could start making a recording. And my recording might be, after Josh made a terrible face, then he went to school the next day. And when he tried to talk to his teacher, he scared his teacher because his face was so big and long. Josh started to feel bad about having his scary face. So he decided to go outside and see if the wind would change again and his face could change again. Right, so you could make a little section of video like that. Then you could go back and you could change the special effect again. So I click special effect and you might choose this effect. And you might say, when Josh went outside, the wind was still blowing and his face changed again. Right, so you can continue your story by making several short sections of video. I'm just going to go back to the normal one so you can see me. So once you've made several short sections of video, they will be down here in the bottom right hand corner. Here they are down here. Okay, so once you've made 2 or 3 sections of video finishing the story or telling a little bit more about the story of Josh, then you grab your video, you drag it, and you put it down the bottom. Okay, after that we go to what we always do, right? So we go down the bottom of the screen and we look up iMovie. A little bit differently today, if you can't find iMovie down the bottom of your screen, so if you can't see iMovie down in your apps down the bottom, you could go up to the magnifying glass again and you could write the word iMovie. And if you write iMovie, then the app will come up here as well, okay? So if you can't see the app down the bottom, go up the top, magnifying glass, write the word iMovie, and find the app here. Right, once you open iMovie, you are going to create a new movie. So we click on the plus button, you click on movie, you open a new movie, and here you are here. Now, you're going to grab your sections of video that you did in Photo Booth, you're going to drag them down the bottom and you're going to put them in down here. Now, remember, you're continuing a story that's already started. So the first thing you need to check is check that your sound is correct. check that your picture is correct and it's got the funny faces that you want to put into it. I would like you to add a title. You guys know how to do a title. I'd like you to put a title in. If you've got a section of video that joins together, I want you to grab a transition and I would like you to put a transition in between the two. Remember, you can grab the transition and you place it in between the two pieces of video and then the transition will work in there. Now, if you've got your video and you want to do some special effects, you could go up here and you could change the speed. Remember the one that looks like a speed dial in a car or looks a bit like a clock? You can go to the speed button and you can change it to fast. And you can say how fast you want it to be. So it could be 2 times, 4 times, 8 times, 20 times. But you must remember, when you change the speed, the voice, the talking changes as well, okay? So if you're going to do that, you might need to think about how you're going to change the voice as well. Now, there's one more thing that you can do, which we could introduce today, which we don't normally do. Now, what I could do is I could get a picture, and in fact, I've got the picture of When the Wind Changed, the cover of the book. And I'm going to drag that across, and I'm going to put that right at the very start of my book, of my story. So now I've got the picture of When the Wind Changed. I'm going to click on that cover. I'm going to go to the cropping tool, and I'm going to make it fit into the whole screen. So I've got my start of my story is When the Wind Changed, which is the cover of the book. Now, this is the thing we don't normally do. There is a microphone right here, a little voice recording microphone. And when you click that, it'll give you 3, 2, 1 and ready to record. So I've clicked it. I've clicked where I want to start recording. Now I press the record button. 3, 2, 1. This is a book called When the Wind Changed by Ruth Park. Then I hit stop. And you can see down here I've done a little audio voice recording. And if I drop my volume down a little bit, you guys know how to do that, and I play my video, you should hear my voice over. This is a book called When the Wind Changed by Ruth Park. Hi everyone. So, you now know how to put a title, the book picture at the start. You have a voice recording, a voiceover using this button here. You have transitions to put in. You have titles that you could put in. You have all of these different special effects which you've used last time you were in class. And I want you to make a video that finishes the story of When the Wind Changed. I don't just want you to do 1 or 2 little clips. I want you to try and finish the whole story in your video. And then what we can do when I come back to school, we could play the little bit of video that we had from the start of the book, and then we can attach your video on the other end as the end of the book. Okay, so that's what I want you to try and do in class today. If you've got any questions, you can ask Mr. Travis and he will try and help you out. You can watch this video back again if you need to see which buttons I clicked and which area, or you can talk to one of your friends as well to see which buttons and which area.